it seems like there is a big transition that companies have to go through when they get big, of going from that takeoff phase to the cruising altitude.
Yes.
And on your website, Shockwave Innovations, one of the great articles that I found was when corporate execs advise startups.
Yes.
And you mentioned that a little bit earlier, of just the difference in culture, the ways of doing things between the two. How have you seen that transition go from startups? What makes that work in order to have that company go from takeoff to cruising altitude, and then when or what causes that not to work so well?
Yeah, it is a gradual transformation. There's not a light switch that gets flipped on or off, but it does happen. And in the early days, of course, a superpower of a successful startup has to do with experimentation, flexibility, recognizing that something is not working and pivoting as soon as possible. So there needs to be this adaptation and flexibility until a flywheel gets going, and then you want to coalesce around that and get it going more efficient, more productive, and things like that. As the team grows and as the company is down a successful path, it would be reckless to have the same level of experimentation and flexibility and turn left and turn right. It would whipsawing a company of 100 employees or 1,000 employees becomes reckless and has a lot of negative attributes to it. So then, eventually you find yourself, maybe, as a $100 million company or a $1 billion company, and it's just dramatically different. Probably you're a public company, you have lots of regulations and compliance requirements and things like that, and you're just not afforded the same level of freedom and flexibility as you do in the early days. And you just think, you hear the analogies of turning an aircraft carrier or something like that. It's a very, the captain of that aircraft carrier doesn't just suddenly just announce, hey, everybody, take a hard left. It's a planned activity that probably an hour or two in advance, they know the course is going to change and they're getting ready for that. So the level of planning and strategy that takes place in large organizations to make sure that the 1,000 or thousands of employees all at the same time are on the right path is a very difficult challenge that we don't have to worry about in the early days.